College football is back, and on today's episode of Four Verts, I'm going through my 12-team playoff projection as the college football playoff goes from 4 to 12 teams this year. I will project my top 12 teams and then go through the entire bracket and ultimately end up with a national champion. Should be a fun exercise as college football week 0 is here. Some things to know. First round games in this new system, which technically would be the round of 16 because the top 4 seeds would get a bye. So seeds 5 through 8 will host at home stadium. So if you're the 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th seed in the 12-team playoff, you will get to play in the round of 16 at home. The quarters and semis will be at the New Year's Six site games, and then the national championship this year will be in Atlanta. So that is kind of the path and what you need to know in terms of where the games are going to be played, etc. Now, the quarters and semis, those are kind of to be determined based on who gets what seed, etc. But that is how that is going to work. So my projected number 1 overall seed is the Georgia Bulldogs. I think they're the most talented team in the country. I like Carson Beck at quarterback. Defense is loaded. You would think they're going to play with a little chip on their shoulder after letting last season slip away with that loss to Alabama in the SEC Championship, a team they were clearly better than. I think the team to beat. I like them as the number 1 overall seed. I've got the Oregon Ducks winning the Big Ten. That still sounds weird to say. Obviously, Georgia winning the SEC. The Ducks, I think, coming to the Big Ten this year. A lot of transfers, veteran quarterback in Dylan Gabriel, physical on both sides of the line of scrimmage. Feels like Dan Lanning's ready to break through. They'll for sure be a playoff team. The question is, will they win their conference and earn one of the top 4 seeds? I think they will. I think they get the number 2 seed this year. The number 3 Utah Utes. Remember, the top 4 seeds get byes, and it's from the Power 4 conferences. So the Utes in the Big 12, so 2 of the 3 teams here already are new teams in new conferences. I think they're the team to beat in the Big 12. Cam Rising is back and healthy for his 7th year of college football, a really good college quarterback. And I like the way they play. They're physical. Kyle Whittingham maximizes his talent. Maybe not the best team in that conference, but a steady play at quarterback. You know they're going to play defense. I like the Utes to win the Big 12 and earn the number 3 overall seed. And then I really went back and forth on the ACC. And I'm sure some people in the comments are going to drag me for this. Oh, I can't believe you fell for it, Harrison. I'm going with the Miami Hurricanes. I think Miami wins the ACC. And yes, I'm reluctant to saying it. And no, I'm not the biggest believer in Mario Cristobal. But one thing he has done really well is recruit. They've invested in the transfer portal. They got Cam Ward and Damian Martinez, one of the best quarterback running back combos in the country this year. Xavier Restrepo at receiver gives them one of the best trios in college football. Their schedule is very manageable. You look at their schedule, I tweeted this out the other day. If Cristobal wins less than 10 games this year, he should be fired. I mean, it is not a difficult schedule at all. The ACC is very top-heavy, and they dodge Clemson on the schedule, I believe. So you beat Florida State, you're probably going to win the ACC. I like the Hurricanes to get that spot, 11-1, win the conference, and get the number 4 seed. Listen, they could be a dangerous out as well if they were to get in. Cristobal, it's time to put up or shut up because he's got way too much talent to come up short this year, at least from making the playoff. If you want more college football content, prove it by subscribing. Bosses told me, hey, your NFL videos are doing much better than your college football ones. I said, all right, let's see how the next few go, and if they pick it up, great. We'll continue to do more college football. If not, we'll focus more on the NFL. I want to do both. This is a football channel, so if you want to subscribe to Four Verts, get more college football content while still enjoying our daily NFL videos, show us by subscribing. We would greatly, greatly appreciate it. So now we're going to start going through the bracket. So top 4 seeds, they're hanging out at home, waiting for their next opponent. And let's get to the first round matchup. Not going to spend too much time here. I got Liberty as the 12 seed, Texas is the 5 seed, my top at large. Whoever gets the 5 seed has a huge advantage because the gap between the Power 4 and the Group of 5 has never been larger. Texas will hammer Liberty. We saw that with Oregon and Liberty last year. Texas wins this game. They just physically overwhelm them. Liberty's a fun story. I think they'll go undefeated and be the Group of 5 team represented, but they'll get smoked in this one. My next first-round matchup is Ohio State and Notre Dame. This one would be in Columbus. Really fun game last year. It was physical. Buckeyes won at the last second with the goal line score to win, I believe, 17-14, 20-17, something like that. I think you could see another physical game here. I'm not the biggest Riley Leonard guy, the Duke quarterback heading to Notre Dame. I think he'll be solid, but I think Will Howard gives them a little more upside at Ohio State, and quite frankly, they just have more playmakers. Emeka Egbuka, a couple of really good running backs, and Travion Henderson, and of course Quinshon Judkins, the transfer from Ole Miss. The Buckeyes' defense has improved the last couple of years significantly under their defensive coordinator. I think Ohio State wins. I think Notre Dame hangs around, but a 10 to 14 point win for Ohio State feels about right here. Next first round matchup, Ole Miss, Florida State, seeing the Seminoles here in week 0 out in Ireland against Georgia Tech. We'll see what DJ Uiagalelei shows in this one, but I like the Noles to make the playoff but not win the ACC. I think Ole Miss is just too explosive. Florida State lost a ton of talent from that team last year. I think they had like 12 draft picks or something like that. DJU brings in some stability at quarterback, but he's still a little bit erratic for me. 57% completion percentage last year. Jackson Dart, not a perfect player, but he's experienced and he brings some explosive dual threat ability. If Ole Miss can at least somewhat replace Judkins at the running back position, they got weapons everywhere. Lane Kiffin's done a great job in the transfer portal as well. I like Ole Miss in kind of a 20s, 30s type of game, 31-24, something like that. I think the Rebs move on to the quarters. Next first-round matchup is Penn State, Alabama. I'm reluctantly picking the Nittany Lions to make the college football playoff, but a couple things going for James Franklin. One, outside of Ohio State and Michigan, he's won most of his Big Ten games in recent years. Well, doesn't have Michigan on the schedule this year. So even if they lose to Ohio State, they're okay. If they go 10-2 in the Big Ten, they're going to make the college football playoff. Alabama, I still think they're going to be really good. I just like Georgia and Texas a little more, so both these teams kind of fall into that 8-9 slot. I like Bama. Jalen Milroe's more of a difference maker at quarterback than what Penn State has. I am not a Drew Aller guy, but I think he'll play a little better this year, but it won't be enough to win a playoff game. Give me the Tide to advance to the quarters. All right. Quarterfinals we go. Texas, Miami in the 4-5 matchup. I think Texas has the better roster. I think they have the better team. And most importantly, they have the better coach. Steve Sarkisian, he's had a wild career, but there is not a person on the planet that would take Mario Cristobal over him. Sark has rebuilt his image. He's one of the better offensive minds in college football. He's coached at the NFL level and had success as a play caller. I like the Horns in this potential matchup. Cam Ward and the boys will make it interesting, but Texas has more depth, and that will show when these teams play. Utah, Ohio State, a rematch of the Rose Bowl from a few years ago. And guess what? Cam Rising's still around. I think this will be a really good game. Both teams, especially Utah, is physical. Ohio State's trying to add physicality, and I think they'll be more physical this year. Will Howard brings some physicality as a runner at quarterback. Chip Kelly comes over, and, the misconception around Chip is that he runs this high-flying kind of soft offense. That's not really who he is anymore. They'll huddle up some. They'll slow down. They'll be physical with you. That's what Ryan Day is hoping for when they brought him in. Buckeyes win. Utes keep it close. Too explosive Ohio State is offensively. Next quarterfinal here. Ole Miss, Oregon. Get your popcorn ready. High-scoring game. First one to 35 wins this one. I think the Ducks squeak it out. I think Jackson Dart is probably a little more of an explosive quarterback than Dylan Gabriel, but I think Oregon has too much talent. They have so much NIL funds that they're able to spend, and they've done so. I like the Ducks in a fun one, 35-31, something like that. But I think Ole Miss can do some damage if they get into this tournament. Quarterfinals, an all-SEC matchup between Alabama and Georgia. Of course, Georgia looking to get revenge this time around. I think they do. Dogs win by 10 points or so, 34-24. I could see it being in that range, 31-21. Milroe will make some plays, but Beck will take care of the ball. Defense will shine, get a couple of turnovers. Georgia advances to the semis. All right, let's get to those semis. Georgia again here against the Texas Longhorns. And remember, quarters and semis are at the New Year's Six games. We know the semi games are the Orange and Cotton Bowl. The other four, what is that? Peach, Fiesta, Rose, and can't forget the other one. Peach, Fiesta, Rose, and gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Whatever the other New Year's Six game, that is the quarterfinal rounds. But in the semis, it would be the Orange or Cotton Bowl in this case to be determined. And I think Georgia wins. It would not shock me if Texas beat Georgia in Austin in the regular season. I could definitely see that being the case. But I think in a playoff game, in a neutral site situation, I think Georgia's better. So I think Georgia gets it done here and gets to the national championship game. Then you got Oregon, Ohio State, all SEC, all Big Ten in the two semifinal games. Ohio State, Oregon. I can see a similar deal here where Ohio State wins in the regular season or Oregon does, vice versa happens here. It's going to be hard to beat a quality team like this twice. I got the Ducks getting into the Natty. I really went back and forth on this one because I think Ohio State's more talented, but they haven't been able to break through in these big games in recent years. And I think they will this year. I think they'll get to the semis. I think they'll beat Michigan this year, but I think Oregon has a little bit more speed. And I think they find a way to get this done. It feels like Dan Lanning's on the cusp of doing something special. But he won't win the final one, the biggest one. Oregon, Georgia. I'm going chalk with my top two teams in the country. Again, these are how I see the top 12 seeds playing out. Georgia wins. I think they were the best team in college football last year. They just fumbled at the goal line. I'm saying that metaphorically, of course, against Alabama in the semis. And then ultimately did not make the college football playoff. I think the Ducks show up, play well, but I think Georgia by 10 plus in the national championship. Feels like it's the year of the dog. And then Kirby Smart has his third natty. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see if that happens. That's how I see it playing out. College football's back. Puts a big smile on my face. Hopefully it does you as well. Again, if you want more college football videos throughout the season, hit the subscribe button. It is for Verts here on the Chat Sports Network. My name is Harrison Graham. See you guys next time. Peace.